Hello everybody. I'm choking. Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I have read Free to Die by Bob McElwain. This was one that was on my Kindle app from donkeys ago, so yeah, I thought I'd give it a go. Let's get the blurb up for you. Brad Ashton fled 3 years ago to avoid a conviction for murder. Now he's back, and his hope for freedom appears to be within reach. Unfortunately, there are those who have no interest in his legal status. They only want him dead or on the run once more. And for Brad, running is no longer an option. It's a table stakes game in which the risks are high, but he puts everything he has, including his life, on the table, then settles in, determined to win every hand. It's a fairly short book, 195 pages, so a typical time to read is 6 hours and 2 minutes. I think I did this over about 2 days. Not normally a book I'd go for. I enjoyed it. For somebody who's not a big rereader, would it be one that I would choose to pick up again? Probably not. But for what it is, I thought it was gripping. It hooked me in. Yeah. So at the beginning, you've got Brad in court, and once he comes back, basically everybody around him starts dying left, right, and centre, and so he starts looking into why people are dying. His ex-wife is killed, and it basically goes into this big conspiracy. And yeah, who doesn't love a good conspiracy? Yeah, so you're just seeing him on the run. You see him using different aliases to try and get around and work, and yeah, it's got some really good twists and turns in there. I admit, as the things started to come out, I did not know where this was going. Especially when it started going down the conspiracy route, and you're just like, oh wait, what on earth is going on here? Why does it look like Brad is being framed? Because there's a point when, especially because his ex-wife dies as well, and it seems to be people associated with him that are dying. Like, it's like the idea that he's come back and now he's being done for murder again, but he's not doing it. He knows he didn't do it, and so he's ready to clear his name. But yeah, for somebody who likes the murder mysteries, this was up my alley. I didn't know what I was getting into when I read this book. I didn't read the blurb, I just knew it was on my Kindle app, and so I thought, that sounds like something I could fill in the gap with when I didn't know what I was going to read next. And I'm just, because I've got quite a few books that I got from when I first downloaded Kindle, where I had either free books or books for like 99p, and so I just went and just, you know, I'm a person that likes to read, so like if I can find free or cheap books, that's a win. It's not too complicated. To be honest, I could kind of imagine it as kind of like a made-for-TV movie. Something that you can pop on in the background, and it's not too strenuous to read. Yeah, because at the beginning of the book, he's come back, it was his ex-wife's brother that he was accused of killing, and then when he comes back, his ex-wife dies, and so many other people that he comes into contact with. And then there's a point when people start interviewing him, I think they claim to be CIA, but then he later finds out that they're not CIA and they're actually someone else. I'm not going to spoil that bit for you, because it kind of, as you go through, it becomes a bit more relevant who they actually are as it ties into the twist a little bit. I think it's averaged about 3.9 stars out of 5 on Amazon. Admittedly, I think when you look at the cover of the book, the cover doesn't really give you very much. But yeah, it kind of just looks like splatters. The front cover. It really doesn't give you anything, that front cover. Just the title, Free to Die. It's hard to explain how that title ties into everything. It's an interesting one to talk about, because I really don't want to go into spoilers on it, because as I said, it is quite twisty-turny, and you don't really know where it's going. You're constantly trying to put those puzzle pieces together, because you know that there's a puzzle there. Because obviously when he comes back and then everybody starts dying, and he's just like, wait, I've already been framed for one murder, and now being framed for all these other ones, and he doesn't really know what to do about it. And he's got these friends that know who he is, and people who know what his aliases are, and aliases? That doesn't feel like it should be a word, but probably is. Alias? ADI? No. It's like when I was viewing University, so we kept saying prospecti instead of prospectuses. It just feels like it shouldn't be a real word. It kept me entertained. It had me quite hooked in. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. And Brad, the character, he's one of those ones, he's kind of likeable and unlikable at the same time, because you know he's making bad choices, but you also know that he didn't do it. So, yeah, just having somebody who's not the most likeable character is always an interesting one for me, because I quite like unlikable and unreliable narrators because I feel like it just adds a little edge to it, because it's like, I've said this before, that I've been writing like probably a short story at this point. I don't even know if it'll ever see the light of day, which centres around an extremely unlikable character. And the first chapter that I wrote is basically you see the inside of her head and how selfish this character is. And so, yeah, I think I've just always been intrigued by that kind of plot device. So yeah, if anybody has any really good recommendations for unlikable and unreliable narrators, please send them my way. Because it's things like, I can't even think of an example off the top of my head of a book like that. But yeah, just somebody who's not entirely trustworthy, and so you don't really know whether to believe everything that they're saying when they're narrating the story. Just thinking lots about this one. It made me think. I do like a book that makes me think. I know not everybody goes into a book like that. The fact is, there are sometimes, but I just want to be entertained. It's just like with the Beaufort stories, they make me think a little bit, but ultimately they're just greatly entertaining, and so that's why I read those books, because they're fun. It's magic, but there's also a bit of girl power in there, so it's just like, yay! I find the idea of the unreliable and unlikable narrator kind of fascinating. I thought this was going to be a fairly short one today because, firstly, it's a short story, essentially. It's not that long. Because how long did I say it was? Like about a couple hundred pages? I will also say there is a kind of a bit of a love story in there as well. I mean, my dad says that even like action movies and things like that, everything has a love story at the centre of it. I mean, my dad is a cheesy one like that. He's just like, well, if you look close enough, everything's got a bit of a love story in there. But yeah, I heard it really interesting. I really liked the mystery of it and the murder mystery of trying to find out like what actually was going on, and then the further and deeper you got into the conspiracy of what actually was going on. And it then comes back to his ex-wife and her job, and then kind of like works out from there. I'm really skirting the edges of spoilers, so yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, I thought it was a really entertaining read. It was something to fill in the gap between when I didn't really know what else to read, and I saw it just there going, you know what, if it's there, I obviously downloaded it or picked it for a reason, so let's have a go, shall we? So yeah, Free to Die, Bob McElwain. Let's get back to that front cover again. And as I said, you really don't get much from that front cover at all. So it is 5 to 12. Just before 2 o'clock, my parents are picking me up and we're going to see my niece's dance competition. So, thanks for watching. But yeah, it was a really interesting book. The fact that it's got a murder mystery in there obviously was right up my alley, and seeing this person who isn't the most likeable or reliable kind of trying to investigate and figure out what's going on after being on the run for so long, and now he's being set up and framed, and he's just like, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not taking this anymore. I don't want to be on the run anymore. And so he's trying to kind of figure out what's going on and fix it. So yeah, if you like a good conspiracy, I recommend Free to Die. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and then I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe. Bye.